Hey. I was just thinking to myself, just a couple of weeks off and I've lost my touch already. Hi, guys. Hope that you are doing well. There you are, Paul.
Yep. Hey, everybody.
That was
Nice to see
big
you.
me and little you just there.
I know when it's supposed to be the other way, I'm the big one. I'm the
I
oldest.
know.
Yeah.
That's the big bro. That's the big bro. So, hi, everyone. Welcome to Gym Time again. It has been a minute and I'm looking forward to being on here with you guys. So, it's about getting
As
your motivation, guys,
it,
whilst it's
it,
here.
it is indeed. Look how my sister looks so lovely and tan coming back from the islands. She come up
Coming
from the
back from
islands
the
and the hair look good,
islands.
the skin look
What?
good from the islands. You know,
What?
that's not Jamaica, that's just the islands.
I know, it's just the Caribbeans. Yeah, face a bit plumper. Just had some good food, just chilling on the beach, just seeing Jamaica, just having a whale of a time. Yeah, so I'm back now. We are back, and it was a good 2 weeks break. How was it for you, Paul?
Oh, do you know what? I think it went pretty quick myself personally. You
Right.
know. But I was itching on the first Monday. It was like, I got nothing to do. What am I gonna do? And
You
then
should have just jumped on. You should have
I
just
thought about it. Don't think I didn't, And then
you should have
last
jumped
week,
on and got
same
some other
thing.
people to join you.
I could have done. Maybe next time. You know.
Yeah. I
But
just
it's
thought it was nice anyway that you get a break as well, But I know what it's like because there's times when I've done certain podcasts and when it's like a break, I'm like, oh, I should be on now. And I'll be
mm,
thinking like what I'll be doing, probably subject matter and so forth. So guys, welcome.
yes. Hi
Tell a
everybody who's
friend, tell a
joining.
friend, come in and see us. Let us
Tell us
Hi,
where you're
Matt.
from,
Good to have you here. Hi, Dennis.
Dennis.
Hi, Sonia. Thanks for joining us. Afternoon, Dennis. So, where are you, Dennis? Because you're saying afternoon.
Yeah, he's in
Where
the
are you?
States.
Oh, you're chiming in from the States. Awesome. I wonder if we're going to get some of the cousins on as well from the States. And, I've just been throwing it out as I do every single week. And if you know us, we always do a disclaimer. And also, we don't really wait for people to come on because a lot of people watch the replay. And so, ultimately, we just do our thing and then people can join in as and when, but we do really appreciate when you can share with others so that they know that we are actually going live.
Absolutely.
So do you want to go ahead and do the disclaimer?
I think because you've been away, you should. No, I'm joking.
I was just looking at Gabby's hat and I was thinking, boy, this time last week we was like sunning it, man.
All right.
Anyway, do you
A
know what
little pale.
I
Yeah.
was I was thinking about, sometimes people are just like, oh, you're away and,
Hey, fam.
ain't it difficult when you come back? But I condition my mind like differently. So I'm there, I enjoy myself. And when I come back, I just go back into what I'm doing. I'm not sitting there pining and so forth because I'll have another time, God willing, that,
That's right.
we'll be able to go. So I just enjoyed it whilst I was there and now I'm back, just back on it. So you guys, you might not even know I came back this morning. So this is how dedicated I am to being on because I had a little nap, but I knew that I needed to be on this week. So I will do my
Like me, Debbie. I weren't going to be on because my back had over the weekend,
yeah.
guys. My back had gone. Washed my hands, and then my back went pop. So the whole weekend I've been in bed, and today is the first day I've actually come downstairs. I soaked in the bath. I was in a lot of pain earlier on. Soaked in the bath, and I thought that heat should help. And it has. It's energized me,
Good.
and whether it's energized me for the next couple of hours or whatever else, at least I've done that, and I feel so much better anyway.
Yeah.
But he's gone.
And it's commitment. It's commitment. So
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't.
really appreciate that you've taken out that time to join us because I know those back pains, it's not even a joke.
Listen,
Not even a joke. Hey,
we
Cars.
know-
And then we've got Ezra as
yeah,
well on. Thanks for
that's.
joining us. So I'm just going to do my
Go ahead then. Yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
going to do my disclaimer. So we always say this, and I know sometimes people probably think, why do you say it? But to be quite honest, there's some people who come on for the very first time and may not have heard us do a disclaimer. So our disclaimer is always the same, pretty much. Like we are not professionals in the sense of, trained psychologists and so forth, but what we do, we share our experiences with you. We are trained through life experiences, and I think that not taken away from the psychologists and sex therapists and all of those kind of people, but again, life teaches you some serious lessons. So what we say is, come on, join us on the journey. We will share with you whatever we know. I always say, what I don't know, I just don't know. But what I do know, I will share with you.
Yep.
And ultimately, it's about us learning. It's about us growing. It's about us having a conversation about relationships, about love, about sex, all of the things that impact our lives on a day-to-day basis. So we're on here to encourage you, to enrich you, to enlighten you. And in the process, we get enlightened and we get enriched too. So, you know, it's free for all. We all come on and we share. Your views and your opinions are totally appreciated. So we love you to be in the chat and share with us. So
Absolutely.
go ahead, bro.
Yes, and hi Sharon as well. Hi everybody who's here. And like Debbie, we really appreciate you coming on and coming on as early as you can as well. I mean, we know sometimes we have technical, or no, let's say it the other way. Normally I have technical issues.
You
know,
have
I think you've only had it once.
I think so.
But like Debbie said, we're not experts with the titles as such, but we have a vast amount of experiences, being divorcees, having girlfriends and boyfriends, etc. So we do want to share with you our journey, you could say, of learning. And like Debbie says, what we don't know, we can't tell you, but what we do know, we'll share with you. Yeah, Tifa, our words, them know it. So
Yeah.
and but don't some of the things that we'll say on here, I would say to you, try them. If you've never tried to rectify, or communicate better, or whatever aspects that we talk about, if you've not tried some of the things that we talk about, do try them. And if they don't work, don't cut your neck. At least you tried. If we can open your mind up to different suggestions of growth, or trying something new, then do it. But again, as I say, is that you fine tune it to who you are and
Absolutely.
your situation as well. All right, so don't try and crucify us if it doesn't work. Fine tune it for it to work. And if that don't work, then I'm sorry. All right, that's my disclaimer.
Absolutely. So today's topic is sex after marriage, and this is something that people's been having a conversation with me about, like people who have already been in relationships and saying, oh, if I enter into a new relationship, what should I actually do? Should I actually wait before being intimate? I mean, if you was to ask us as Christians, that's our belief in it. We believe that you should do that.
But how many people who are believers, as in Christians, find themselves doing that? There is a percentage of people that fall into the category of let's use the word as we do, sin, or fall into the category of old ways, because ultimately you meet somebody and sparks, and you think, backside, oh me, I gotta do this one now. Oh me, I got no one's gonna know. Yeah, but it's one of those ones, it's one of those situations where, and when we go, the more we talk, the more I'm going to share something with you from my experience as well,
So I do believe that it's possible. I do know people who's actually done that. I do know people who are not Christians who are able to accomplish this. It's not just because you have a Christian belief why you actually, or religious belief, should I say, why you would abstain before, be celibate before, having sex. So I find that a number of people, they ask me the question because to be quite honest, now that I think that, I'm like, who do they think I am, a sex guru? Like, I don't know why they asked me, but I think that they've asked me because I've experienced having sex before marriage, and people that's asked me have said, would you have preferred to wait and for me being a Christian, absolutely, because it messed with my head in such a big way in terms of being a Christian and knowing that you've fallen into fornication, and it's kind of like, this isn't, the feeling at the moment is good, but the condemnation, the shame and the guilt and all of that follows. Do you get what I mean? And so from that perspective, I know young women who are Christians who have been asking me that question, and they will always hear the resounding yes, wait from me, even though in my life that hasn't always been the situation. Do you get what I mean?
Which doesn't really make you a hypocrite, because
No, it doesn't.
Because of the confession of knowing, you know what, I wasn't able to walk that path for whatever reason, being I didn't have that strength, or you know, I got caught up in the moment, or whatever else it is. It's actually quite refreshing to know that, you know, as a believer, you know, as a Christian, you can turn around and you can say, you know what, I faltered, you know, and the wonderful thing about grace is grace, you know,
absolutely.
that you don't beat yourself up with it every single day. You know, there's a few things that I looked at today, and one of the questions, if you don't mind, you know,
no, go ahead.
And the one of the questions that someone asked somebody, it was, is it sin to sleep with your boyfriend or girlfriend before marriage? And the person answers and says, God intended for sex to be enjoyed between a husband and a wife in marriage. So couples having sex outside of marriage would be considered a sin. Even if you are living together and planning on getting married, having sex before marriage is still a sin and not pleasing to God. It went on and said the Bible teaches that. Oh no, that's a different one. This got deep. Yeah, this got deep for me. It was like, pooh. It says the Bible teaches that oral sex is sex and should be saved for marriage. Some Christians argue that only intercourse must be saved for marriage, but the majority interpret the Bible to teach that any and all sexual stimulation should be reserved for after a man and a woman are wed. How do you guys feel as well? Please, I want you to join in. Yeah, this is an open conversation. This isn't a place where people are condemned for their belief system. This isn't about Christians against people who are not Christians. This is an open topic, and we all walk a path that is high and low. You know, we all have issues, or have issues in our life that, you know, sometimes we don't get to talk about it. You know, there's people right now, whether on here or out there in the world, they're in that situation. You know, Christians or non-Christians, they're doing crazy stuff. You know, I've been there myself. You know, doing some crazies. But same like you, Debbie. See, the things I know now, I would always advise everybody to wait. And I tell you why I say that is that when I met my wife, when you hear me say the word hungry, that means that I wanted sex. All right. So I was hungry. And when I say hungry, I mean hungry, you know. But I said something to my wife, Catherine. I said, you know, I'll labor for you. You know, there's a story in the Bible on just. Am I going in the right place? Yeah. Is it Rachel and is it Joshua?
No.
Who am I thinking of? Oh gosh.
Her name was
and he got Leah.
Yeah.
Yeah. However, yeah. So I'd actually said I'd labor for you, meaning that I'd wait. Mama, who tell me if I said that? Yeah, Leah. Yeah, I know Leah. Yeah. Who told me to turn around and say, I'm going to labor for you? Because anytime I got hungry and I said, no, it's all right for you to come to my house. It's all right for this. It's all right for that. Because that's lust and hungriness make you say anything. Jacob. Thank you. Make you say anything. Because you know what you're looking for. You'll be all right. You can lay down in my bed. I ain't going to do nothing. Why am I going to do anything? I ain't going to do nothing. Yeah. It's all right for us to kiss and cuddle right now. Yeah, later tonight, and it's going to lead to, not in all cases, but it can lead to. So I struggled a lot, but because of what I said, my wife used to say to me, my fiance at the time used to say to me, Didn't you say you was going to labor for me? Buck side.
Mhm.
Every time she said it was like a
Punch
stab
in the
in my
chest.
heart. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, it was like, why do you keep on saying that? I don't want you to say that. And when finally we set a date, and it kind of simmered down, that hunger. And all I can say to you is that when you wait, and on the wedding day, listen to me, I was a virgin. That's all I can say to you. I was shaking. I was scared. Everything that I ever knew went out my head. I never knew nothing. I'm like, oh my goodness me, you know, am I gonna? And I'm glad for that waiting time, because it's a totally different feeling when you think about that. Each person that you met, you slept with. Each person, you know, being married, you slept with. You know, before you got married, you slept with, you slept with, you slept with, you slept with, and you slept with, and slept with. So where do you stop? You know, we're not even just talking about Christian values now alone. That should be in there already. However, where is your value on yourself, where you can say, you know what, when I look back over for me, this is me, yeah? I look back over the horde of women that I slept with, those that were wives or girlfriends, there had to be a change where I could balance it to be able to say what I'm saying now. It's such a beautiful feeling, and to know that at last this is my wife or my husband, and I'm going to give myself to him, and I'm going to give, and he's going to take me, because that's how it is, you know. And I'm gonna take my wife, and she's gonna give herself to me. And it's a feeling that there's no words to it. You know, I'd even encourage, don't quote me, yeah, a fasting time away from all of that. You know, that
Absolutely.
that you know, if you're everyday, if you're an everyday person, or from the day that you got married to now, that you never together said, let's go a week with just communicating, just talking, you know. And
I
if
was
he,
I was chuckling to myself because I was thinking some people saying a week. Sometimes we go, 3 months, I'm not getting on.
no, I know, I know.
A
But I'm
week
talking about,
would be good.
it's funny you saying that, you know, because there's yeah, there is
Let me read these comments. Sorry to cut you. Let me
yeah,
read
go
these
on.
comments. Dennis said, when you know better, you do better. And I think that was in relation to me saying, you know, what I experienced before.
Yeah,
Sharon Winter said, let's read this. I have a relative who entered into a relationship and eventually married before sex because she is a Christian. She had so many challenges with her marriage and eventually separated because of it. But was it because of the, you know, like waiting? Was that the reason why, or was there a combination of reasons? I'm trying to get this up off of here. Because sometimes it can absolutely contribute. Saying hi. I don't know what Jesus in heaven. Wamia, what is that?
Wamia Wakina.
Wamia Wakina. I like it when people read it because I'm not that good at reading that one.
It was a lack of
And
intimacy.
yeah, and Sharon said lack of intimacy. Hiya, cousin Vivian. Let me just hide this one. So I wanted to say, thanks, Paul. You just clicked it and I clicked it back on.
I know you did.
So I wanted to say everything that you said is absolutely valid. Like, I think that there are a number of different reasons why people will wait, and it is good for people to fast whilst they're in a relationship, because sometimes that flesh can really dominate, you know, your desires, that you're operating sometimes in the flesh. I think that for me personally, if I'm fasting, well, you know, from a biblical perspective, if I'm fasting and my husband still wants to be intimate, I still have to honor that. Do you get what I mean? You both have to be in agreement with that. But if you both want to fast from it, there's that element of coming back together and fireworks, you know. But what I was looking at, I was trying to bring it up on here, but I don't know if you can see me if I read it. Tell me if you can still see me. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Am I moving or am I still?
Yeah, I can still see you.
Oh, okay, brilliant. So so I looked up a number of different things about waiting and abstinence and so forth. And there are a number of people who wait not because they're Christians, but rather because that might have been a value that their parents might have instilled within them. And so, you know, I read this publication. The publication was going on to speak about the relationships that people have and the fact that delaying having intimacy before marriage is known. So this paper is by the Journal of Family, and one of the medical reviews is this woman called Louise Chang, and she basically this was written, it was medically reviewed by Louise Chang, but it was written by a Bill Hendricks. I don't want to get it all mixed up, but the study was 2,035 people who are married, but admittedly what they said, they asked them as individuals rather than couples because they wanted to find out individually what they thought about waiting. And what they had found was that people who waited until after their marriage was happier because their relationship was built upon friendship, togetherness, rather than the sexual aspect of the relationship. And people who I've known who've waited, they've said that their foundation has been a lot more solid and a lot more stronger because they've basically waited. It says the study involved 2,035 people, married participants, in an online assessment of a marriage called Relate. According to the study, people who waited until marriage rated sexual quality 15% higher than people who had premarital sex, rated relationship stability 22% higher, rated satisfaction with their relationship 20% higher. Now, this is American studies, it's not US, it's not UK studies.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so I think that there is a conversation to be had with people who have waited and how that has enriched their lives. We actually would know already I think most people will know about the pros, and most people, you know, will probably look at some of the cons. So let me just say some of the pros. Establishing sexual identity. I'm not going to go into all of them too deep. Developing sexual experiences, assessing sexual compatibility, and this is a big one because people will say, oh, how do I know that I'm not how do I know that I'm compatible with that person? And so I could marry someone and not be sexually compatible. But you become sexually compatible, you grow together, you learn from each other, you look at what each other likes and what each other doesn't like. It says identifying sexual problems. So you might have sexual problems within yourself. You might have issues as a woman, you know, experiencing intimacy. You might have past history where you might have been abused or something like that, and now you've entered into a marriage. In your head, it's like a whole honeymoon, it's a whole fairy tale, and everything's going to be perfect. But the moment that person starts to touch you and so forth, it can bring up so much issues that you've experienced from the past. So it's understanding, you know, and identifying sexual problems. A guy might be impotent, you know, he might experience premature ejaculation. It might be things like that. Better understanding your partner. I don't think that having sex before marriage makes you better understand your partner. What do you think?
What did you say? Having sex before,
because this is the pros of having it.
Because if you have sex before, doesn't mean that it makes it more fruitful. And
it doesn't make you better understand the person.
No, it doesn't make you understand. You see,
and let me just do these. Let me just do the last few. It says better communication of feelings. Again, I'm not totally convinced by that. that because you've been intimate with someone, you're better to communicate your feelings. Sometimes being intimate with somebody makes you emotionally
Attached.
strung, like highly strung,
Yeah.
because your emotions are in that lot involved. It says happier, higher happiness rate. Again, that's debatable for me.
Yep. 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 Like that.
General reduction of stress level. Again, you know, this is what I've brought up from physical intimacy before marriage, and it's like on marriage.com. Again, these are questionable for me. Better intimacy with a partner. Again, I don't think so. Better health, you know, I don't think so.
Well,
Because
it
you
is
might
because
not be
you're working
practicing
out, isn't it?
you might not be practicing good health, like, you know, you might not be going and getting checked, or, you know,
That's true.
some of those
No,
last ones
I'm
debate.
actually playing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm. I
they're
was actually
debatable
playing,
for me.
saying that you get your heart rate up, etc. You know, that's what maybe where they're going and thinking that physically you're more fit. However,
Hmm.
debatable, because you, as you said, you might be impotent. You're there for 2 minutes, there for a minute, you're there for
Hmm.
30 seconds. You know, how you fit now, you know,
But the thing is,
go
whether
for
you
a
do
jog.
that before or after, it's still going to be there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Exactly,
Those things are
exactly.
still going to be there. Your feelings are going to get involved before or after. The problems that you'll experience before are problems that you're going to experience afterwards. The only thing
Yeah,
is that you would have been giving up yourself to more than probably one person, or to somebody that you thought was going to be the one, and then they wasn't the one. So the
yeah,
heartbreak and the whole rejection, or whatever the situation is, those things are going to be there. But if you
yeah,
now embark on marrying somebody, you might experience these issues, but now you're married to that person. So I would expect any person who is venturing into marriage to then say, well, this is us, we have to work
yeah.
through these things, we have to
Because there are
speak
there
to
are so
ourselves.
many different ways to work through that. You
Yeah.
know, whether it is impotency, whether it is that she has a low sex drive, but it's the willingness and the wanting to make those changes happen. You know, you
Hmm.
can't just think that, you know, eventually he's just going to be all right. You know,
Hmm.
I have to change the things that you do in the bedroom. You know,
Absolutely.
you know, you know, and take your time. The man, take your time and build up to it. If that's how your body functions, you know, then there's so much that you can do before intercourse. If that's
Yeah.
it, that you're only 3 minutes and you're just jumping on the saddle and you're bracking out and then it's over, of course she's going to be disappointed. I just want to go to some of these comments, Debbie, because I want
Yeah,
to.
go ahead. I was going to say that.
Yep. So Sharon turned around, and was it Sharon? Yeah, she says the answer to your question, Debbie, is a lack of intimacy and non-sexual compatibility, and that's what happens
Not.
with some people, that, you know, they get together and they don't think that they're actually compatible. Who said that there's a title to you and that person to say that you're compatible in the bedroom? You know, I think that together you learn. You know, if there was a conversation with some men one time that I had, I'm sure it was, and and what it was is that for some men and some women as well, they watch so much porn, yeah,
Hmm.
and porn will dictate to you that this is the way it's going to be.
Right.
Eye rolling back in their head, you know, and you're just going like a shotgun, like a machine gun, and you feel like you're a champion, yeah. But not all women and not all men are the same. So meeting someone, you've got to get all of that out of your head of what you was watching, or still watching if you are, out of your head, and take this person at this value and go at this pace. And one of the things that I always say, you know, when I talk to men and to women, talk to your partner. You know, if something's hurting, why are you laying there and letting the man beat you up? Yeah,
Hmm.
and drilling you like he's a workman. No,
Yeah.
yeah. Or she's there and she's. Do you remember them rubber things with the face on it like this, like and you bounce on it. I forgot
Yeah,
what they
yeah,
call
yeah,
it. Yeah? And you're letting this woman bounce on you and popping your seed. Yeah. Why are
yeah.
you going to do that? And you don't like it. I'm sorry. Listen, I talk frank, right? And this is just real truth. Yeah. And
No,
you don't
because
like it.
people don't want to say no. People don't want to, like, if you was to say if you was to say no to that woman, then that person,
Yeah.
he's probably thinking, well, she probably ain't going to ever do that again, or she's going to feel so
Right.
offended and so forth. But this is how
It's
you're
the
able
way
to
you say
stir
it.
your intimacy, your sexual relationship in the way that works for both of you,
Yep.
because
Yep.
you don't want somebody to be doing stuff that you are not happy with, because that is going to make that person not want to be intimate.
Right.
You
Yeah.
get what I mean?
You're
Not that
just
they
there and
don't want to be intimate with you, but they're thinking every time you come, all you're doing is bouncing on me, busting my balls, and I can't work with that. So it's a no-go. You know what I mean? So it's about you saying to that
you've
person,
got to,
no,
but there's the way. It's
that
the
doesn't work for me.
way you say it. The way that you say
It
it to them.
is.
It can't be like, "What do you listen? Just slow down." You can't do that.
Get off of
It's
me.
yeah. Oh, get off of me. You know.
Yeah.
It's about and there's a way, the tones that kick in. I'd speak
Yeah.
about the tones and the way that you gently say to a woman or say to a man, baby, slow down a minute, just slow down a minute, just like that, hold it. Well, didn't you like that
Absolutely.
before? No, I like it, but I want to feel this.
Yeah.
It's like this, and that's where she will talk or he will talk. You've got to communicate in the bedroom. I know someone that they were that said that they were having oral, and it was and she was fellatio, yeah, and she was doing what she was doing, and it was hurting him.
Mm-hmm.
And well, my question was, what did he say? And he said, I said to her, "Oh, that hurts me like that. Try
Mm-hmm.
it like this,
Mm-hmm.
just like that."
Yeah.
Bang. So now she, each time when she goes, because it might be what she was used to, this is
Absolutely.
what the
But
other
if he
person
did it differently, she would have got offended and felt rejected,
right.
and
Yeah.
not
Like,
and
oh,
then
oh,
and
you
not
hurt me. You hurt me.
and
What are
then
you
not
doing?
go ahead and do
And
anything
never,
like that
right,
again. Do you
right.
get what I mean?
Yep.
And the thing is, it is about communicating effectively. Ezra
Do you want
said,
to,
is there biblical reference to fasting from sexual intimacy during marriage? No, he wasn't
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about fasting from sexual intimacy. Paul
No,
was Paul.
but
You
there
go ahead.
is,
Say what you were saying.
but
I
there
was
is.
talking about fasting. Period. Like if
Yeah,
I fast,
yeah, yeah.
for spiritual reasons, if my husband's not okay with it, then I don't abstain from being sexual with him. But there isn't any biblical scriptures from my knowledge that says that you have to fast from sexual intimacy. But I
No,
think that
there
what you
isn't,
was
there isn't
getting
anything
at
that's,
was,
yeah, there isn't anything that says that you need to do that. What we're saying is that it's good to come away from it. However, there is a scripture, yeah, in 1 Corinthians chapter 7 and verse 3 that says, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto husband. The wife has not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also husband has not power of his own body, but the wife. Fraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that you may give yourself to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you, not for your inconsistency.
yeah,
So
but I would still break that down in relation to not specifically fasting from sexual intimacy, but fasting,
generally, yeah,
but fasting, and that has to be agreed by both parties that
yeah,
you're doing that. But you both have to agree that it's only for a set period of time. No one ain't
yeah,
saying this is forever.
yeah.
It's for a set period of time, and then you both come back in
Well,
agreement.
and that's what this scripture says. 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 3. Read on from there. I think that, like, for me, when I'm fasting, I don't do, there's no intimacy at all for me. And for me, it's great that my wife Catherine, she agrees with me as well, because it goes the other way as well, that we take,
Yeah.
and it's God, for whatever we're fasting for and praying about, that we don't that we don't come together, like that. Sometimes we
Yeah,
forget,
because
and you might be a slap on the ball, something, and you're like, remember, you got to remember. It's like, oh yeah. So it's
but the
coming.
reasons for
It's
it,
fun
the
to
reasons
go on.
for that coming away from that is just as much as you coming away from food, so that you're not allowing the flesh to have free reign. You're putting the flesh under subjection,
Yeah.
and putting your flesh under subjection when you're still being intimate is hard. It's like, it's just like you abstaining from eating food for any length of time. So it's a sacrifice that you're making unto
Really
God,
making. That's right.
and to allow your spirit man to become strengthened.
It's discipline.
So does that answer your
Discipline.
question anyway, Ezra? Because
I hope it did.
we was basically saying that there is no real biblical scripture saying to abstain from sexual intimacy
Directly from,
rather
just
to fast. If you're fasting, it's good if you can abstain. Go ahead and do the rest of the reading there, Paul.
We've got how do you pronounce it? Mazire.
Yeah,
I think this can be I think this can be damaging to a relationship if you're both not on the same path with waiting before marriage, as it can cause a whole load of a whole load in the relationship in regards to lack of understanding. I agree in some respects. What I say to some women who tell me about the guys that they're with, I believe, and I say it to my daughters as well, that by waiting, you will know that man. That man you will know, because if you're waiting and he's, let's say, tried to pressure you, and you stand your ground and he decides to leave you, then he's not the one. He ain't the one for you, because he would be willing to wait for you, not then go and bruck something outside, or I was waiting on you, and that he wasn't really doing anything, and but it's just you that I want. I just it's just I need to do that, or vice versa. Well, you ain't doing anything, and I have needs. Yeah, I've heard that word. I have needs. Well,
yeah, I've heard people say, if you're not going to give it to me, I'll get it from somewhere else.
Yeah, but the thing is that
well, then go.
Then person doesn't have
you're
needs.
not for me.
Yeah, you're not, and that's what it is. Is that if you've given, this is my perspective. Remember, if you've given yourself to this man or this woman before, let's say you've gone on and you've got married, doesn't mean it doesn't work. Yeah, number one. But what more do you have to then give? Let me tell you something. When you're waiting, all you can do is communicate and talk. So when you fall out, you've not given yourself to them, that you can say, oh, I gave myself to another one and it didn't work. I gave myself to another one and it didn't work. I gave myself to another one and it didn't work. Because that is what has happened in life. It's happened to me as a man. You think that this woman is the one, and you think to yourself, you know what? No. But I've got peace with you millions of times, but I'm going to leave. And now she's traumatized that I'm leaving, you just slept with me, and you just no, we slept with one another. Yeah, no one said that let's not do that, or if I give you this, you stay with me. If I have sex with you, you stay with me, and vice versa. Girl, if me and you have, you're not leaving, because you're a champion, but maybe you are. However, that doesn't keep anybody. Yeah, because you have real life issues that take place. You have traumas in your life, or she has traumas in their life. If you're not communicating and you're not talking with one another, then sex covers all of that. It covers over all of that. Then when this comes out now, you're thinking, what? You didn't tell me that. Yeah, well, we never spoke about it. And that can be the turn off for him to leave, or for her to leave, or the beginning of problematic issues. So to wait, all you can do is talk. Good night. You're on the phone, and that late night calling thing, right? Take it from me. Put down the phone early. Put down the phone early. Yeah, because that's all I'm saying. Yeah. Then 1 o'clock talking, yeah, when your voice has gone all low, and you're saying, "Are you all right?" Yeah. What are you doing? What do you think she's doing? She's in her bed. You know where you're going with that conversation. Shut him out.
Yeah, you
You know,
just say,
I know.
you just say, I'm talking to you, innit? I'm talking to you. What do you mean, what am I doing? But people get caught up in that all the time. And I think that it's having that understanding that if you're going to wait, there are the benefits of, you know, you waiting, because ultimately, go on.
No, go on. You finish what you're saying, and I read that.
Yeah. No, read that.
Okay, exactly. PME, diabetes, just to name a couple of things, and cause impotency, etc., etc. Actually, it was PE. Yeah, is it PEM? Yeah. Let's go down. Someone say
Jackhammer.
Jackhammer. Yeah. Subjection is right. That's what Millicent said. Dennis says key men, if you do the necessary things before the intimacy, it will be easier for your partner to climax because your woman is already there. A lot of you do with the mind.
A lot to do with the mind.
Yeah, a lot to do with the mind. Yeah, it's true.
Mel was laughing at you saying put down the phone early.
Yeah, listen. I've been there too many times. And I want to say this for those that are on here and those that are just sitting in the wings. You've not subscribed. Please subscribe. I want you to be on, and I want you to give your opinion on, you know, your perspective on matters.
I'm going to look at my phone because sometimes people are on and they can't send the messages.
You matter. You matter to us. You really matter to us. All of you, your opinions, they matter, because just like we're giving our perspective, you have your perspective as well. And so by putting it on here, and please, if anybody would like to come on live, now's the time to say you'd like to come live, and we'll bring you on to have just maybe a 5 minutes or whatever else it is. So please don't feel like you're restricted in the chat. Yeah, Deb, you agree?
Restricted just to the chat, because we can bring you on live.
The chat, we can bring you on. So if you do want to, please say, and we'll send you a link to come on for and take part in this as well. You know, so I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Yeah. So Mel said these chats are way better than some counselling sessions. I appreciate it. We both appreciate it. But being frank and being honest is you know, sometimes really difficult for people. You know, they kind of cut corners and say what they want to say to make it sound all good. I wanted to say that some of the reasons why people wait is, like I said, because it might be something that they wasn't intending to do. So for instance, I know people who they wasn't intending to wait until they was married to be intimate. That was not their intention. However, it turned out like that because they didn't find the person that they wanted to give themselves to. And I say kudos to them, because their intention, no biblical reasons, you know, could be an atheist, whatever, but their whole thing was, I want to find that person who I feel comfortable that I will give myself to. And it just so happened that it was the person that they ended up being married to. I actually read something else on this unspoken truth. It's called The List. This woman says, before I met my now husband, I'd never really met someone who I wanted to be with. This woman, Erica, 30, explained, I had my fair share of chances, of course, but it never felt right. Like Clementine, Erica says she hadn't planned on waiting until she was married to have sex, but it was never a big part. So the sex was not a big part. And there also are women who have been traumatized. And I can't really speak on the men's part, but women who's been traumatized because of sexual abuse, and they've waited for marriage, hoping that, you know, the marriage will just be the perfect thing, like I said earlier on. So their desire to be intimate with just any and anybody wasn't there, you know. So they waited until they felt as though it was the right person. There was another one that I actually read. Here you go. Some people who've waited until marriage to lose their virginity feel similar to Wilson in that it worked out well for them. There's that whole conversation that people have where they're like, oh, supposing that I wait and things are just rubbish, and, you know, like we said earlier on, we're not compatible and so forth. I think that is just pushing people down the road of being intimate before, just to make
That's
sure.
right.
Just as much as living with each other, or let us live with each other just to make sure that we get along. You know, there are these things that you can work out prior to being in that sexual relationship or moving in with that person. When you make that commitment to marry someone, it's not even it's not taken lightly. So when you go and you say for better, for worse, you're saying, like, if this gets worse, we are going to stick through it, we are going to work through it. But all too often now, I guess there's the option of divorce, separation. So people are just like, no, if he or she's not rocking my boat, I'm out of here. It doesn't work like that. You know, it shouldn't work like that, where you feel like this person isn't the bee's knees in the bedroom. I think that you can work through things. I don't know about other people in the chat. What do you guys say?
Yeah. What do you guys think? You guys are going quiet on us. You see, I think that, you know, like I said,
Here you go. Dennis has said something.
Okay, go on. You read.
Pull it up.
I pressed it.
Okay. Dating each other. Sorry. Dating each other for the rest of your lives is key. Be the person you were in the beginning with each other. If sex has been so, or is the central part of your relationship, it most certainly won't end well. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah,
all
100%.
focused
Yep.
around that, and
Yep.
all you was waiting for was the wedding day just to have sex with that person,
There's so much more that takes
There's
place.
so much more.
Let me ask, Dennis. Dennis, would you like to come live? Just let me know, yes or no. It's okay if it's a no. Now, Dennis has a vast amount of wisdom. You know, when he's talking, and him and I, we talk quite often, and we talk about these subjects as well. And he's seasoned. You know, I won't say anything about him. If he comes this time, he does. If he doesn't, I'll let Dennis tell his story on relationship and marriage. You know, he says I, you know, he talks about me and wisdom to him, but it's the other way for me as well. He draws out some stuff in me when he's having a conversation with me. You know.
He said, "We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen. Yeah, another time. Yep, no problem. You know, but it will be good to hear this man speak. You know, it's just really, really good to talk to this man. You know,
and probably very candid.
Yeah, the funny thing about it is that my prayer was that I would have real people, you know, in my life. But when I said real people, men, because I only had a lot of females in my life that were my brethren, you know, and the perspectives were good because I learned a lot. But I needed men who were real, men who were truthful, men who were transparent in my life, and he's one of them. You know, I have but a few. I have but a few, but you know, they speak into my life, and I take it on board. I tell you this, because we all need somebody. We all need somebody that
Absolutely.
can
We're all
speak into our
growing.
lives as well. You know,
Yeah.
definitely.
We're all
Yeah,
growing and we're all developing in different areas of our lives. And I think that
absolutely.
when it comes to relationships, like you said earlier on in your disclaimer, like try something different. If things are not working, try something that you haven't tried before to see if that works. Don't just stay
Hmm.
stuck, you know, because ultimately if like for instance, I know people who's been married and they previously they waited before they got married, and because that relationship didn't work out and part of it was sexual, their mindset has been, I'm not going to wait, I'm going to make sure that this person is sexually satisfying to me.
Mm.
Now you fall into the category of those individuals. This isn't judgment, of those individuals that can end up having multiple partners until they find the one, you know. And if it's the sexual side of things that you're actually looking for, guarantee you'll end up with multiple partners, because you're not necessarily going to find that individual just off the cuff, just like that. Yes, this is Mr. Right, or this is Mrs. Right. So it's necessary for you to understand that in the previous relationship the sexual aspect maybe didn't work, but that doesn't mean that you change the whole game and the whole process. In terms of now, as a Christian person, now I'm going to go against what you know to be right as a believer and a follower of Christ. That just that just to me personally, it just says that that situation didn't work out, but it doesn't mean that this situation, that the actual formula doesn't work. It just means that in that relationship sexually things didn't work out, but it doesn't mean that waiting until after marriage isn't the right thing to do. Do you get what I mean? What was you
Well,
smiling about?
this is Sharon. Sharon says, I understand building a relationship and all, but I would rather know what I'm getting into rather than being surprised after marriage. I know you're talking about from the sexual side, yeah, because there are
Yeah, I
many
think
other
it is.
surprises. There are many other
But the
surprises.
surprise is a surprise. It doesn't have to be a bad. It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
bad.
no, but the
Because
surprise, the surprise. If you're speaking about you want to test
waters.
the water, um, no, test his loins that he can do what you want him to do. That's pleasing. Okay, are you going to overlook all the wonderful attributes, other attributes that this person has to bring? Because I also believe that by coming together afterwards, you can build a loving and wonderful sexual relationship at the same time. Because
Mhm.
again, I was saying earlier on about the communication, about what you like, what you don't like. Now, if it's the case that that man knows that he struggles, you better go and get some natural substances. You better go and get some ginseng. You better go and get some pills, my brother. You know, yeah. Because if you're not doing any of that, then she is going to feel like that. Don't get me wrong. So what are you doing? And I always say this for a man or a woman,
But
what
how
are
is he going to
you
know?
doing?
Supposing that he also hasn't been intimate with someone, how is he going to know that he can't perform in that way? He's only going to find out when he gets married.
There you go. There you go. You know,
But
like I
then
said, when,
both of you are in that situation. So let me, like, my husband's there agreeing with Sharon
yeah,
100%.
yeah.
He's saying that's because he was able to brook peace before. Do you get what I mean? But again, there are people who understand that waiting isn't about it being just about the sexual aspect. It's not just about the sexual aspect. If your focus is the sex and making sure that that is correct, if you enter into the marriage with that person and the sex is great but everything else is crap,
There you
what are you
go.
what are you gonna do? Because the
Look
sex
at,
ain't gonna mean no whole leap if you
yep,
and that person can't get on, if you and that person can't agree. Do you
yep.
get what I mean? You've just got good sex going on. Do you know
See,
what I mean?
I was in relationships. You can read this afterwards. I was in relationships that it was great. I mean, till you want to grab your hair and drag out my locks. Yeah, it was wonderful. It was great. It was. But even when I met my wife, I said to her, and it sounded, I don't know how it came across, but it was just having a conversation. I said I didn't know, and this is the truth. I didn't know if those women actually wanted me or they wanted the great sex.
Yeah.
That's what it was in my head. You know, I you know, because there was other issues going on. So I'm saying to myself, well, but we got good sex. So surely the relationship should be all right, because you know, I can make you scream and holler and shout. But none of that mattered. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter how great sex was. There were other underlying issues, and that's why I'm not with them. And if you're watching this, this is what it was. I weren't with you because the sex was great, but there's other things that wasn't. And I'm not saying I was all together. So I just say, yeah, if you're watching, no, I wasn't all together either.
Yeah, say that. So but that's why I weren't with you. That's why I'm not with you. Check yourself. So Maz says sex can always be worked on.
Exactly what you just said.
Attributes that will carry you through. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. Like you can cook up a storm, innit? You can do all the right things, and that's great. But if you are looking at the other issues, looking at the other things that makes up that person, you know, how many of us have seen somebody walking along the street and you just think, how is that man with that woman, or how is that woman with that man? You know, there's so many times when people have just like, how on earth has that woman got that man? Do you get what I mean? Because they're looking externally, thinking that that woman doesn't match that man. He looks too great for that woman. But it's that judgment. You can look at a hench guy or a really sexy woman and get this whole opinion of them being amazing in the bedroom, and they might be, but what is their character like? Who are they? Do you get what I mean? What is their personality? What is their views? And I know some of you might be thinking, oh, who cares about that? As long as they're good in the bedroom. Well, good luck to you, because you'll find out that that person behind that buffness, or that, you know, hourglass figure or whatever, who probably is rocking your world, they might not be working with the other things that are really, 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 really fundamental to you.
Absolutely.
What are your fundamentals? What are your values? What is the things that you actually want in life? Because sex is a small aspect of that. If that person is rocking your world sexually, but they don't work, do you know what I mean? They don't. They just want to just doss in the house. They don't want to clean up after them. They don't want to have conversations with you. They don't want to take you nowhere. Good luck.
They go out and leave you on your own all the time.
Do you get what I mean? It's just about the bedroom. No.
And that's what it's about. That is just an aspect. If you haven't got all the other things, or the other things that come into play. But then, Debbie, I'm going to say, there's some men and some women, they don't care. That means everything.
Yeah.
Yep. Sex means everything.
You're right. Yeah.
Sex means that I'll clean up. Sex means that I will buy you stuff. Sex means that I'll take you places. Sex means that, you know, I'll talk to you. I'll sit down and watch a movie with you. But after the movie, you know, I want sex, you know? Yeah, and the list just goes on. For some men and some women, that means everything. And in some relationships, it actually works. That they.
I think it. Do you know how I think it works? I think it works if the two people are on that same page.
Yeah, she knows that. You know what? If I do that, he's going to do that.
Yeah. Because I was talking to someone recently about, you know, people think that relationships where people are not Christians and people are in relationships or married, that those relationships are destined to fail, for argument's sake. Yeah. And I was saying to them, not if they're on the same page, not if their values are the same. Do you get what I mean? And their values can be warped. Like, when I say warped, their values can be like, we're going to go pub every Friday, gonna smoke, you know, we drink our drinks, you know, we're just going to party every weekend. If both of you are in alignment with that, guess what? That relationship will work.
Yeah.
That's what it
that
is. It's about that. It's about you being in alignment. So where you just said, oh, you know, if you both are all sex orientated and everything is about sex, he knows that he will clear up if he knows he's getting some, and she will cook dinner. She knows that she's getting some. You're both in alignment. Your values are the same. So I'm talking primarily about people who are looking to have sex after they get married. Yeah. That's their value. That's their core beliefs. And you now want that for yourself. If that person isn't in alignment with that, there is going to be conflict. There is going to be problems. If you now venture out of that and now say, right, I'm just gonna go with the flow, you might end up down the road of being in a sexual relationship with one person and the next person. Fortunately for me and for other people, fortunately for me, in both of the times where I did breach my Christian values and beliefs, I ended up getting married to both of those two men. That's just how it worked out for me. Doesn't mean that, you know, it works out that way for everybody else. But ultimately, if people was to ask me, you know, what should you have done and what would have worked for you, I would have said waiting until afterwards. Do you get what I mean? It might not have worked with my husband now. It might not have worked out that way if I definitely said no, it isn't going to happen. Maybe we wouldn't be married today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that's just how it would have just ended up. Read what Dennis said.
Yeah, and just to say, Barry D, I think Debbie just answered the question, and I'll get down to it as well. But Dennis says, if you focus just on the great sex, you can test the waters and get married. You later find out you're sleeping with the enemy. There's a reason not to be anxious for nothing. There's more to a man and a woman. Very, very true. And then he says, sex is not the glue that will keep your marriage together when trouble comes, and be with someone
someone
of
substance.
Yeah, because he says it afterwards, someone of substance. Yeah. And then Barry, what is the core reason that keeps people together?
Their values.
And their values and the wanting to make it work.
But that would be in their values though. Like if your values are, this is my ride or die, this is the person that I'm going to work it out with. Divorce is not an option for me. Both of you've got those same core values and fundamentally this is what you want, then it can work.
I was going to say, to throw a spanner in there, you could have two people with the same core values, but don't rectify the problems that you're having, and you're still together because you have the values, and not together, and you're not divorcing because you both don't really want that, but you then have problematic issues.
So I get what you mean.
Yeah, you know.
So
go on.
So the value is we are going to stay together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Period. But then, if they're like, for instance, that was my stance, and when abuse came into the marriage, that was still my stance. I'm gonna stick this out because this is my value, this is my core value, and I'm not gonna shift. But what happens if somebody breaks the marital vow, like through infidelity, through the abuse, through all of the many different things that come up? If that person is breaking all of those values and breaking their covenant to you, your marital covenant, then you don't have to stay with that person. But what happens for someone like me, my core value was I'm staying. I'm that ride or die chick. But that was hurting me. That was hurting my children. That was hurting everything about me. So, but his values had changed. They had shifted. Because if you, all right, for instance, he could have said the same thing. I'm not going to shift. I'm going to be married to the day I die. But your other values have shifted. Your
Yeah.
other fundamental things have shifted.
Yeah.
And you now have to look at what is that core value and the other values that you both share together, and what is working and what isn't working. You can't say, I'm just going to be this ride or die chick forever and a day, and this person's busting you up and being unfaithful and everything. That doesn't work. So in the aspect of it being you staying together, what is the core things that make people stay together? It isn't just one value. It's
just
not.
one value.
There has to be more than one, and you both
Mm-hmm.
have to be on those same pages. So for instance, if you're with somebody and it's like, we're going to stick it out no matter what, and there's no abuse, there's no infidelity, there's just financial problems, there might be sexual problems and things like that, both of you, if you've made the decision to stay with each other, then you both say, this isn't working, there's challenges here, what are we going to do? And
That's
you have
right.
to find a way how you both are going to do it, because you're both on the same page in terms of, we want this to work.
Yeah.
If you want it to work, then you look for options, you look for things that are going to help you to stay together rather than to separate you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Because then what you're doing is that you're staying unhappily.
Yeah, because of your values.
Yeah.
But
and
that's
then,
what I said.
And when we get into divorce, you know, I'll talk about that, you know, because you do.
Absolutely.
You stay because of certain values that you have in yourself, and you hurt yourself. And that's all I'm going to say. You know,
because of shame. You stay because of shame.
There's lots of different reasons that come into play, you know.
Yeah, there's lots. Children.
Sharon says, I totally understand the holistic view, but carving out the sexual component, I would like to know before. You know what? And you're
entitled to that.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. You're entitled to do that. Everybody on here and those
you're
that are listening
entitled to do that.
You're entitled to do it your way. Okay, I just want you to remember this show, yeah, that after, when your eyes are rolling up in the back of your head and you're convulsing, yeah, talking to the women or the men, you know, you got your eyes rolling back as well. Remember this show, yeah. When you have the other issues going on, you'll see that don't work no more, yeah. Don't work no more. Yeah, don't work.
Somebody stretch their hands towards the screen now. Stretch your hands towards him now.
It don't hold the relationship. Back in the day, you could have said that sex can hold someone. It doesn't hold you. There are so many other things that take place afterwards, you know.
No, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is, Paul? The world has become so much bigger, yeah? Back in the day, it was the guy down the road or whatever. Now the world is so big that people's got options, in it. If it ain't working with you, I can just go on social media and I can find somebody else. You know what I mean? I didn't know just live down the road from me. Do you know what I'm saying? But you making a decision. You making a decision to do that, you always have to consider the pros and the cons. Yeah,
because and it might work.
You now make that decision. You're perfectly fine to make that decision. Remember, these are our views and our opinions, and they will always differ from somebody else's.
That's right.
But you have to consider pregnancy, STDs, infidelity. You have to consider the whole 9 yards. Is this the person that I'm going to stay with forever? And at what point do you give yourself to that person? Do you give yourself to that person after a month, after 2 months, 3 months, 5 months? You know, it's so variable. There's so much things that can happen, you know, that to me, it's about safeguarding. It's about safeguarding yourself ultimately. Do you know what I mean? And not allowing yourself to go down an unnecessary route that might end to nowhere. What was you smiling and laughing about?
No, I was just laughing at when I said same night, because for some, you could sleep with that person same night and they're with you for the rest of your life. Or same night, tomorrow, you wake up and you look and you think, nah, and it's over. And as I said, it becomes a numbers game. Or what we were saying earlier on, and I was saying, Sharon, that you might test the water and it might be great then because, you know, the passion,
sometimes it's great then. Then when you
get it going, and then for the first 4 or 5 times, it's great. 7, 8, what's he doing? Oh, he's just having an off day. She's just having an off day. 9, 10, this ain't an off day. 15, this ain't no. Listen, I don't. Are you okay? Because you don't seem to be performing like you did day 1 and day 2 and day 3 and day 4.
That's just the Viagra run out.
Yeah. Yeah, because by day 15 to 20, he seems to be like up again, like, yay, you know? I got some money. I
get delayed.
I got paid. Read the other ones. Yeah, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm leaving it alone. You're not going to get me into trouble.
It says, Barry D said, I've spoken with women who had the stallion, the sweet boy, the nice car, the boops and sugar daddy, but they didn't grow old together. They didn't stay through sickness and health.
Yeah,
absolutely. The thing is, don't get me wrong, like I said, that was mine and Gary's story. We was intimate before we got married. We was with each other for 5 years before we got married, and you know, thank God that actually worked out. But that doesn't mean that it works out for everyone. It doesn't mean that the journey is always smooth. What we are saying is, look at the pros and the cons, and if you go down that route, then know that there can be challenges. Nothing never goes straight anyway. But you know, you could end up doing that, and you end up getting married. Like, what does he say? Was it Dennis that said? And then you find out you're sleeping with the enemy or whatever. It you know, life can just take you around some corners, some bends, and some ups and some downs, and you know, you just have to pray that God is with you and helping you. So what did
from a core standpoint,
Paul, you are so passionate and graphic, you just made me spit out my drink. I know, that's why I said to put your hands towards the screen. Let me read what Dennis says here. He said, marriage is not perfect, but too imperfect or not willing. But too imperfect or not willing to give up on each other. Being married is not for us, but for God. It's a covenant with God. Many have made sex the central part of their marriage. Absolutely. I mean, sometimes people don't really understand what the marriage vows and that lot is about, and that is definitely a deeper subject. You know, where people can understand the principles of what marriage is actually about and how it depicts, you know, the relationship between us and God. So yeah, I think that this conversation is kind of 50-50. I think that there's some on here that think that is definitely
good to test the waters before.
Yeah, and some who are saying, you know, well,
let's
you know,
wait.
Wait. You know, it's an individual thing. Like I said,
I think from a spiritual perspective, from a godly perspective, and going for something that Dennis said, it's a covenant. From a Christian standpoint, as being a believer and being down the road, I was I was living a sinful life. And because I was living a sinful life, I was having sex before marriage. I was doing all kind of crazies. And then when I became a Christian, I still had those same, the remnant of those things still in me. It's only as I've grown that I've then looked at saying, I know that that was not the right way as a Christian. Yeah. And so anybody who's a Christian on here, it isn't God's value and shouldn't be our value to be going down that road. If you're fortunate to be married, praise God. Yeah. But it isn't the road that we want to go down, because ultimately there's a lot of different things that come with that at the same time.
It's prevention.
Yeah.
Prevention is always better than cure, as they say.
And if you're not a Christian, I would say still look at the values in yourself. Look at how many you've given yourself to, or you've taken yourself. And there has to be, in America, it will be a period. Over here, that full stop, where you now evaluate and change the rhythm of what you've done. You think about it like this. There's not every song that you like, and it's not every beat that you dance to. Yeah. And you wait for the right beat, yeah, that you like. And so if you're out and they're playing, if you're into rock, yeah, and you're going to enjoy yourself. But if you go out to get rock and they're playing R&B, yeah, it's not your thing. There has to be a place where you stop. So I said it to say, if that's all you have all the time, yeah, all the time, sex, when do you stop? When do you stop?
How do you know the right one is the right? How do you know the right one is the right one if it's governed by sex? If it's governed by sex. If you're and maybe it's not governed by sex. Let me not say if it's governed by sex, but if you feel like I'm with this person and the relationship is going great, sometimes I can only say it from a woman's perspective, is that man can tell you everything that he wants you to hear so that you will be intimate with them. Do you get what I mean?
Women as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying from a woman's perspective. And so, after when you've been with someone long enough for them to feel like, oh, okay, this is just a thing, you then can go down that road of getting your heart broken and all of those challenges that you can experience. And I think that in essence, what we're saying, well, one, as believers, that's just our beliefs, but also it's knowing your worth, knowing your values, knowing, who you really are and what it is that you are going to stand for. Because if you don't have boundaries, if you don't have these things in place, then you're going to fall for anything and anyone. And the challenge is that when I know friends who are really emotionally driven. Women are normally quite emotionally driven. And so being in a sexual relationship with someone really kind of blurs the lines, because like we said earlier on, if the sex is great, you can think that person's great. When myself and my husband was away, I was telling him about this psychological report. And it was because I saw this lady on the beach and she was just like laughing. And the man was just like nodding his head. And I said that on this psychologist, the papers said that if I'm having a conversation with you, Paul, and I'm laughing and you're just nodding and laughing, yeah, that woman or man will walk away and say, he is so funny, but you never said anything.
Yeah, that's right.
You never cracked one joke. You didn't say anything. All you did was nod your head and laugh with them. Yeah. And they was the person that was saying everything. You wasn't saying anything, but they will walk away saying, he is so humorous. He is so funny. I like a guy that is so funny. Same in a sexual relationship. It works exactly the same. Yeah. If if there's something that you want and that person is giving it to you, you'll believe that that person is the ride or die because they've met that sexual need that you have, and sometimes that's what blurs the lines, because they've met that need. You feel as though they're the best thing since sliced bread. So it's not, like we say, it's not us saying what you must do. It's saying, we're coming from a perspective of saying, what is it that you're going to look at? What are the pros and what are the cons? How is this going to work for you? How do you navigate through, should I or shouldn't I? Like Paul said, when your eyes are rolling back, you might be thinking, boy, I remember when they was having that conversation a few months or a couple of years ago. But ultimately, it's your choice.
It's your, and that is what, that's the thing, what we're saying. I said it earlier, if you've never done it, you can try something different and see how it works, for you. I'm not saying try it and then you get married and you think to yourself, backside, look at those people. That's why I said you can't come and cut our neck. It's a choice that you're going to have to make. But at the end of the day, you got somebody who floats your boat. If it works, great. Yeah. If he walks away or she walks away and you've given yourself up to them, you can't complain.
No, you
cannot
can't
complain. You can't be saying, and look what I got them, and look what we did, and look how many times, and you just slept with me, and now you're going to leave me. You cannot complain.
Can't.
Because
but
it's
people do.
choice. I know they do. That's why I'm saying it. That's why I'm saying it.
As grown adults, you make that decision. You can't turn around and say, look how that person just slept with me and then just walk off. You consented to that.
That's right.
Do you get what I mean? You consented to that.
Right.
And they are in their right because you allowed that. And if they walk away, again, they're in their right to walk away because you might feel as though they're compatible to you, but they might not feel as though you're compatible.
And I was going to say that for men, for us as men, sometimes, listen, today we're on top of the hill and we think, yeah, Mike, and it doesn't matter how fine you look, we can just think, you know what? I don't like that part of you, And you say it and they say, well, this is how I am. Okay. Bye. And you're wondering, why is he leaving me? Everything else worked. I don't understand. We were just working and then this happened and he said that. And I said, this is how I am. And because there are key fundamental things within people. If you think sex is going to keep the relationship, as long as you're both on the same page, if you're on the same page, then the possibilities. But if you're not, I want you to remember, don't complain when she or he walks away, or don't complain if you breed a woman, and she wants child support, or she, whatever it is, or she's got twins for you. Yeah, listen, it happens. You understand me? Or all of a sudden now you're wondering why your thing ain't functioning the way it's supposed to be functioning, or for her, why is this happening? Because you just gave it up just like that. You never asked no questions. Have you ever been to the clinic? Yeah. Me? No. Listen. If someone tell me back in the day, if you tell me no,
you better put that in there.
Listen, I used to but it is, hey, I'll keep my backside still. Back in the day, I disagree with you, okay? Yeah, because I talk about things like this,
Yeah.
However, I'm fortunate. I am so fortunate. Thank you, Lord. Yeah, because by rights, just by my lifestyle, how I lived, I should have had AIDS.
Yeah, shriveled up, and
I wouldn't be on here. Yeah, because of my choice. Yeah,
disclaimer.
Yeah, I have to make sure that we put it out there. Because of my choices, because of my insecurities, because of trauma in my life, I think it's what's his name, the singer, looking for love in all the wrong places. That was me. You're looking for love ultimately. Well, I was looking for love ultimately, Jaheim. Yeah, but looking for it in the wrong places. Go.
No, you can read.
Oh, all right. Something may be good to you, but not good for you in the long run. What do you say? Intimately, is he going to say?
Intermittent
Intermittent moments of sexual pleasure can turn what's into into a lifetime of misery. When the wheels come off, be someone who will love you a
be
lifetime.
with someone who will love you
Be
for a
with someone who will
lifetime.
love you for a lifetime. Be with someone who will love you. Listen, absolutely, Dennis, absolutely. You know, and you're gonna work through thick and thin. Yeah. So I can see on here that our numbers have dropped. Either they've gone. It's yours.
I don't have no noise on my side.
Oh, hold on. Okay, I muted it and put you back on.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's all right. So I think we should come to the end.
Yeah, because it's 12:30 anyway. We're going to come to the end. I think that, like I was actually saying, and then we kind of like went off on a tangent. I think it's kind of 50-50. I like the way how Gary just popped on for a moment just to agree with Sharon. But it's good to have your input, babe, on here. And all of those of you who are watching, we really appreciate your input. Absolutely. You can even add to the chat afterwards. That would be really good to hear your views and your opinions, for especially those who are watching the rebroadcast later on. Yeah. So we really appreciate you guys. Thanks. I hope that this was of some value, some worth for you. And yeah, we look forward to next week with another hot topic.
Absolutely. And again, we say, if you do want to be part of the conversation, let us know. If you've got our personal details, then message Debbie or message myself. If you have any ideas or any topics that you'd like to speak about that you don't hear the discussion, please let us know as well, or leave it on the YouTube chat, because we do look over them as well and comment. So please do leave something, and we will cover that subject, or we'll obviously bring you on. You know, don't feel that because we don't know you, if you're watching on the replay, that we don't, you know, we've never met you or anything like that. You've never had a conversation with us, that you're not welcome. All are welcome, because this is about motivating one another, encouraging one another, building one another to have more of a fruitful relationship into marriage. Go on, Mr. Martin.
In time, I go on with things. Oh yeah, that's a good point to end on, and we really thank you and appreciate you for your input. Thanks, family, for joining us once again. You are so faithful. And for those that are new to the broadcast, we appreciate you, and please share, please subscribe, to get our numbers up. That would be great. All right, until next week. Take care and God bless you. Bye.
Get your motivation on.
Bye-bye.
Bye.